need to sit down, because what you are about to hear is not small. It is not ordinary, and it's not something you can just brush aside and move on from. Kind of truth that shakes your soul, the kind that reaches into the deepest parts of your spirit and demands your attention. This is not coincidence. It's not random. You are here in this moment hearing these words because God has willed it. And before you even try to understand everything that is about to unfold, you need to prepare your heart, steady your mind, and open your spirit. Because what God is about to reveal to you is bigger than your fear, greater than your doubt, far beyond anything you thought was possible for your life. Right now, in this very moment, there is something shifting in the unseen. Something is aligning that you cannot yet see, but you can begin to feel it if you are willing to listen closely. God is not distant from your life, not unaware of your struggles. Every tear you have shed, every sleepless night you have endured, silent prayer you have whispered when no one else could hear, God has seen it all. And not only has God seen it, God has been working behind the scenes in ways that would leave you speechless if you could witness it with your own eyes. You thought you were stuck. Nothing was changing. But the truth is, everything has been moving according to a divine plan far greater than your understanding. Been carrying burdens that were never meant to break you, only to build you. You have faced challenges that felt impossible, situations that made you question everything, moments that made you wonder if you were forgotten. But hear this clearly: God does not forget. God does not abandon, does not allow pain without purpose. What you have gone through has not been wasted. Every hardship has been shaping you, strengthening you, preparing you for something so significant that you cannot afford to miss this moment of realization. There is a reason your spirit has been restless, a reason you feel like something is about to change. That feeling is not your imagination. It is a signal. It is a calling. It is God stirring something within you, urging you to wake up, to rise, to recognize that your life is not meant to stay where it has been. You were not created to remain in confusion, to live in fear, be trapped in cycles of disappointment. You were created with purpose, with intention, with a destiny that is unfolding step by step. When you cannot see the full picture, and yes, it's big, bigger than your past mistakes, bigger than your current situation, no church at all, bigger than the limitations people have placed on you. God is about to do something in your life that will challenge everything you thought you knew about what is possible. Before that breakthrough comes, there must be a shift within you. You must begin to see yourself differently. Begin to trust God at a deeper level than ever before, because what is coming requires faith. Not small faith, not occasional belief, unwavering trust in God's power and timing. You have spent too much time underestimating what God can do through you. You have doubted your worth, questioned your strength, and hesitated when you should have moved forward. But God has never doubted you. Even in your weakest moments, God has seen the strength within you. When you felt lost, God knew exactly where you were and exactly where you were meant to go. And now you are being called to step into that understanding. Rise above the voice of doubt and to align yourself with the truth that God has already written for your life. Do not let fear hold you back any longer. Fear is not your guide. God is. Fear will tell you to stay where it is safe, to avoid risk, to shrink your vision. But God is calling you to expand, to grow, step into something greater. And yes, it may feel uncomfortable. It may feel uncertain, but understand this. Growth never comes from staying the same. Transformation never comes from comfort. What God is preparing for you requires courage. And that courage begins with your willingness to trust. Think about everything you have survived up until this point. Think about the obstacles you thought would break you, the moments you thought you wouldn't get through. Here you are. You are still standing. You are still breathing. You are still moving forward. That is not an accident. Evidence of God's presence in your life. And if God has brought you this far, why would you believe that God would leave you now? Why would you think that your story ends in struggle when God is writing a story of victory? Something powerful about realizing that you are not alone in your journey. Even when you felt isolated, even when no one else understood what you were going through, God was there. And not just watching, but guiding, protecting, and preparing. You may not have seen the protection, but it was there. You may not have understood the delays, they were necessary. You may not have liked the process, but it was shaping you into the person you need to become for what is coming next. Coming next is big. It is the kind of change that will make you look back and realize why everything had to happen the way it did. The kind of breakthrough that will remind you that God's timing is always perfect, even when it doesn't feel like it. It is the kind of moment that will shift your perspective, strengthen your faith, and open doors you never thought possible. But you must be ready. Be willing to let go of what is behind you and step into what God has prepared for you. Let go of the pain that has been holding you back, the regrets that have been weighing you down. Let go of the voices that told you that you are not enough. Those voices do not come from God. Voice speaks truth. And the truth is that you are capable, you are worthy, and you are chosen for something greater. You are not defined by your past, limited by your circumstances. You are guided by a power that is greater than anything you will ever face. There is a shift happening, and you can feel it. Not loud, but it is real. It is not obvious, but it is undeniable. God is moving in your life in ways that are setting the stage for something extraordinary. When it happens, you'll understand why you had to go through what you went through. You will understand why certain doors closed, why certain paths didn't work out, certain people had to leave. It was all part of the process of positioning you for something better. Do not rush the process. Do not lose patience. God is not late. God is precise. Every step, every delay, every moment of waiting has a purpose. And while you may not see the full picture right now, you can trust that God does. Can trust that everything is unfolding exactly as it should. Your responsibility is not to control every outcome, but to remain faithful, to stay grounded, and to continue moving forward with trust in God's plan. This is your moment to rise. This is your moment to believe again. This is your moment to step into a new level of faith, a new level of understanding, a new level of confidence in what God is doing in your life. Not the same person you were before. You have grown. You have learned. You have been strengthened in ways you may not even fully realize yet. And now, time to use that strength. Do not underestimate the power of your belief. When you align your mind and your heart with the truth that God is in control, everything begins to change. Your perspective shifts. Your fear loses its grip. Your confidence grows. And suddenly, what once seemed impossible begins to feel within reach. church at all. Not because of your own power, but because of the power of God working through you. You are stepping into a new chapter, whether you realize it or not. This chapter is not defined by your past struggles, but by your future potential. It is not limited by your fears, but expanded by your faith. It is not shaped by doubt, guided by trust in God's plan. And as you move forward, remember this: you are not walking alone. God is with you every step of the way. So sit with this truth. Let it settle into your spirit. Let it take root in your heart. Because what is coming is big, bigger than your expectations, bigger than your fears, anything you have imagined, and you are being called to rise to meet it. Not with hesitation, not with doubt, but with unwavering faith in God. This is your time, is your moment, and what God is about to do in your life will change everything. And as you sit with this truth, something deeper begins to awaken inside you. Not a fleeting emotion, not a temporary motivation, but a steady, unshakable realization that your life is under the command of God. This is not just about what is coming to you, it is about who you are becoming in the process. God does not only deliver outcomes, God transforms hearts. God reshapes minds. God elevates those who are willing to surrender their doubt and step into trust. What is unfolding in your life is not just a moment of change. It is a complete redefinition of how you see yourself, how you see your purpose, how you understand the power of God working through you. You have spent seasons asking, when will things change? Now you are being called to ask a different question. How is God preparing me for what is already on its way? What is meant for you is not waiting on chance. It is waiting on alignment. Waiting for you to step into a level of belief that matches the magnitude of what God is about to place in your hands. Carry something great with a mindset that expects little. You cannot walk into a powerful future while holding on to a weak perception of yourself. God is not only changing your circumstances, God is elevating your capacity. There are things that once intimidated you that will soon feel small. Fears that once controlled you that will soon lose their voice. Not because the world around you suddenly became easier, but because your faith became stronger. You finally understood that what stands behind you is far greater than what stands before you. God is not limited by the obstacles you see, not restricted by the timelines you have set. When God decides to move, everything shifts. Doors that seem permanently closed will open without struggle. Looked impossible will become clear without confusion. And you will find yourself walking through opportunities you once thought were far beyond your reach. Listen carefully. This next part requires your full attention. When the shift begins, it will not always look the way you expect. Sometimes feels like loss is actually redirection. Sometimes what feels like delay is actually protection. God does not always remove you from the storm immediately. Sometimes God strengthens you within it, so that when you come out, you are not the same person who went in. Do not misinterpret the process. Do not mistake the shaping for punishment. What you are experiencing is refinement. What you are going through is preparation. Discipline that God is building within you. A discipline of patience, of trust, of resilience. These are not small qualities. Very foundation is of a life that can withstand pressure. A life that can carry responsibility. A life that can sustain the blessings that are coming. Understand this clearly. Receiving something great is one thing, but sustaining it requires strength. And God, in infinite wisdom, rush you into something you are not ready to maintain. Every lesson, every test, Every moment of waiting is adding weight to your spirit, so that when the moment arrives, you will not crumble under its significance. You may not have noticed it, you have already changed. The way you respond to challenges is different. The way you think about your future is different. The way you carry yourself even in uncertainty is different. That is not accidental. That is evidence of God working within you. Growth is not always loud. Transformation is not always visible in a single moment. But over time, it becomes undeniable. And now you are standing at the edge of something new, something greater, something that will require you to fully embrace the person you have become. There will be voices, internal and external, that will try to pull you back into old patterns, that remind you of your past mistakes. Voices that question your readiness, that try to convince you that you are not capable of stepping into what God has prepared. But those voices do not carry authority. They do not define your path. Voice that holds truth over your life is the voice of God. And that voice has already declared that you are not meant to remain where you have been. You must learn to silence the noise. You must learn to stand firm in what you know, even when you do not yet see it. Faith is not about having all the answers. It is about trusting the one who does. It is about moving forward, even when the path is not fully visible. You know that God is guiding every step, and when you begin to live from that place of trust, something powerful happens. You stop reacting to fear, responding with confidence. You stop hesitating and you start moving with purpose. And let this truth settle deeply within you. What God is preparing for you is not just for you alone. It carries impact beyond what you can currently imagine. Your growth will inspire others. Breakthrough will open doors for others. Your faith will become a testimony that strengthens those who are struggling. Not just about your success. This is about your influence, your responsibility, your role in something greater than yourself. God does not elevate without purpose. Always a reason behind the rise. So do not shrink when the opportunity comes. Do not step back when the moment arrives. Stand firm. Step forward. Accept what God is placing before you with confidence and gratitude. You have been prepared for this even in ways you did not realize at the time. Challenge you face has been adding to your readiness. Every moment of perseverance has been building your strength. And now time is approaching where all of it begins to make sense. You are not behind. You are not late. You are not overlooked. You are exactly where you need to be. Exactly the right time, under the guidance of a plan that is unfolding perfectly. Even when it felt chaotic, even when it felt uncertain, always been order behind it. There has always been intention behind it. God does not operate in confusion. What may look unclear to you is already fully known and perfectly arranged by God. And here is where your responsibility becomes clear. You must remain steadfast. Protect your faith. You must guard your mindset, because as the shift draws closer, the distractions may increase. Doubt may try to creep in. Fears may attempt to resurface. But you cannot afford to give them space. You cannot afford to entertain what you have already been called to rise above. Stay focused, grounded. Stay aligned with the truth that God is in control. There is a level of peace that comes when you truly surrender. Not a passive peace, but a powerful one. A peace that does not depend on circumstances, but on certainty in God. When you reach that place, you stop chasing validation, fearing uncertainty. You stop trying to force outcomes. Instead, you walk with confidence, knowing that what is meant for you will not miss you. What's not meant for you cannot stay. That is the strength of trusting God completely. And as this moment continues to unfold, you begin to see signs. Small confirmations that remind you that you are on the right path. Pay attention to them. Do not ignore them. These are not coincidences, reminders, signals, reinforcements of what God is already doing in your life. Each one is an encouragement to keep going, to keep believing. Keep moving forward even when the journey requires patience. Because what is ahead of you is not just a change, it is a transformation. Shift into a life that reflects the strength, the faith, and the trust you have built over time. It is a manifestation of everything you have been preparing for. Even when you did not fully understand the process, and when it arrives, you will not need to question it. You will recognize it. Your spirit will know. Your heart will feel it. And you will stand in that moment with a deep understanding that God has brought you exactly where you are meant to be. Take a deep breath, not out of fear, but out of readiness. Ground yourself, not in doubt, but in faith. And remind yourself with full conviction, what is coming is not something to be afraid of, but something to rise into. God does not bring greatness into your life to overwhelm you. God brings it to reveal what has always been within you. And now you stand on the edge of this moment. There is only one thing left to do. Believe fully, trust completely, and move forward without hesitation. What God is about to do in your life is not just big, it is life-altering, faith-strengthening, and undeniably powerful. And now, as your spirit begins to absorb the weight of this message, there is another truth you must confront. One that may challenge you, but will ultimately liberate you. Life you are stepping into cannot be carried by the version of you that clings to hesitation. You cannot walk into what God has prepared while still negotiating with doubt. There comes a moment when reflection must turn into decision. Awareness must turn into action. When belief must become something you live by, not just something you say. And that moment is now. Not calling you to be passive in this process. God is calling you to be intentional. There is a difference between waiting and preparing. Too many people confuse the two. Waiting without growth leads to frustration, but preparation guided by trust leads to elevation. Yourself with honesty. Are you merely waiting for things to change, or are you actively becoming the person who can carry what is coming? What is on the horizon will require clarity, discipline, and a heart that is anchored in God above all else. A refinement taking place within you that goes beyond what is visible. It is not just your circumstances that are being rearranged. It is your priorities. Focus your inner world. God is removing what distracts you, what drains you, what diminishes your clarity. And while this process may feel uncomfortable at times, understand that it is an act of divine precision. Not everything that leaves your life is a loss. Some things are being cleared because they cannot go where you are going. Not children. Some attachments are being broken because they would have held you back from the fullness of what God intends for you. You must not resist this refinement. Cling to what God is trying to move you away from. Trust the process even when it requires letting go. Because every release creates space. And in that space, something greater is placed. God does not take without purpose. And God does not remove without replacing with something better, something purer, something more aligned with your path. But that replacement requires your willingness to trust without seeing the full outcome. Also, a calling for you to deepen your connection with God in a way that is not dependent on circumstances. It is easy to trust when everything is going well. Easy to feel strong when there are no challenges. But true faith is revealed in moments of uncertainty. Revealed when you choose to believe even when you do not understand. When you choose to remain steady even when things feel unstable. Kind of faith does not come from comfort. It comes from conviction. It comes from knowing that God's wisdom is greater than your perception. Timing is beyond your control, yet always perfect. And hear this with clarity. What you are stepping into will test that conviction. Not to weaken you, prove the strengths that has been built within you. Because there is a difference between knowing something and standing on it when everything around you is shifting. Preparing you to stand firm, to remain grounded, to carry certainty in your heart even when your surroundings do not yet reflect it. The level you are being called to, there will be moments when you feel the weight of responsibility increasing. Moments when you realize that you are no longer thinking the way you used to, no longer reacting the way you used to, no longer settling for what you once accepted. Not confusion, that is elevation. Growth often feels unfamiliar because it takes you out of your old identity and introduces you to a new one. Be afraid of that transition. Do not question it. Embrace it because it is evidence that you are moving forward. And as you rise, also develop a new level of awareness. Not everything deserves your attention. Not every opinion deserves your response. Not every opportunity is meant for you. Part of stepping into something greater is learning discernment. Knowing what aligns with your path and what does not. God is not just opening doors, also giving you the wisdom to choose the right ones. But that wisdom requires stillness. It requires that you listen more than you react. You seek guidance before making decisions. That you remain connected to the source of all clarity, God. You are entering a phase where your environment will begin to reflect your inner transformation. The people you connect with, the opportunities you encounter, direction your life begins to take. It will all start aligning with the level you have grown into. But remember, alignment is not accidental. Result of intentional growth, of consistent faith, of choosing God's guidance over your own impulses. Stay grounded in that. Do not let success distract you from your source. Do not let progress pull you away from the very foundation that made it possible. Also, something deeper you must understand about timing. You have been conditioned to believe that everything must happen quickly, that delays are negative, waiting is a sign of stagnation. But God's timing operates on a different level. What feels like a delay to you is often a period of perfect positioning. It is a time where unseen factors are being aligned, where circumstances are being arranged in ways you cannot perceive. If everything came immediately, you would not recognize its value. You would not have the capacity to sustain it. But through timing, God ensures that when it arrives with purpose, with meaning, with impact. So, instead of questioning the timing, trust it. Instead of resisting the pace, align with it. There is wisdom in every stage of your journey. Nothing is being wasted. Even the moments that felt slow, even the days that felt unproductive, even the times when you felt like nothing was happening, those were not empty. They were building something within you. They were strengthening your patience, sharpening your awareness, deepening your reliance on God. And now, as everything begins to converge, you will start to see how it all connects. The lessons, experiences, the growth, they are not separate events. They are pieces of a greater design. And you are at the point where those pieces are beginning to come together. It's not the end of your journey. It is the beginning of a new level within it. A level that requires more from you, but also gives more to you. Level where your faith is not just tested, but expanded. So stand in this moment with awareness. Recognize what is happening within you. Nourish the growth you have gone through, and make a conscious decision to move forward with strength. Not stepping into uncertainty. You are stepping into a plan that has already been written by God. You are not walking blindly. You are being guided with precision even when you cannot see the full path. And as you continue, carry this truth with you at all times. You are not meant to shrink. You are not meant to settle. You are not meant to remain where you are. You are meant to rise. You are meant to expand. Meant to step into a life that reflects the greatness of what God has placed within you. So, do not hold back. Do not second guess. Allow odd fears to dictate your future. Move forward with certainty, with strength, and with complete trust in God. What is unfolding is not ordinary. It is intentional. It is powerful. And it is exactly what your life has been leading toward. Now there is a deeper layer of truth rising within this moment. Something that does not simply inspire you, but confronts you. Does not just comfort you, but calls you higher. Because what God is doing in your life is not only about giving, it is also about awakening responsibility. You are not being prepared to simply receive blessings. You are being prepared to carry purpose. And purpose demands clarity. Purpose demands discipline. Purpose demands a heart that is aligned with God, beyond distraction, beyond ego, beyond temporary desires. There is a weight to what is coming. Burden that crushes you, but a responsibility that shapes you. And many people ask God for more without realizing that more requires more from them. More focus, more patience, more integrity, more awareness. You cannot step into a greater calling with a careless mindset. Cannot carry something meaningful while living without intention. God is elevating you, yes, but elevation comes with refinement, with accountability, standard that calls you to live differently. You are being invited into a life where your actions reflect your faith, where your decisions reflect your trust in God. Your character reflects the depths of your understanding. This is not about perfection. This is about alignment. Becoming someone who is consistent in belief, consistent in discipline, consistent in purpose. Because what God places in your life is not meant to be temporary, meant to grow, to expand, to impact beyond what you can currently see. And so there was a quiet question that must be answered within you. Are you ready to rise to that level? Not just in words, not just in emotion, but in action. Are you ready to release habits that no longer serve your growth? Are you ready to walk away from comfort that keeps you stagnant? Are you ready to embrace a mindset that sees beyond the present and trusts fully in God's design? Readiness is not declared, it is demonstrated. It is shown in how you think, how you act, how you choose in moments when no one else is watching. Seize what others do not. God sees the intentions behind your actions, the sincerity behind your prayers, the effort behind your growth. Nothing is hidden. Nothing is overlooked. And that should not create fear. It should create clarity. It should remind you that your journey is not measured by external validation, by internal transformation. You are not being prepared for applause. You are being prepared for impact. There will be moments when you feel stretched, when the expectations rise, when the path requires more effort than you anticipated. In those moments, do not retreat. Do not question your worthiness. Instead, recognize that stretching is a sign of growth. It means you are moving beyond your old limits. You are stepping into spaces that require a greater version of yourself. And that version already exists within you, waiting to be fully realized through trust in God. You must also understand that clarity will not always come before movement. Sometimes God guides you step by step only, what you need for the next move. If you wait for complete understanding before taking action, you will remain stuck. If you trust enough to move forward with what you have, more will be revealed. This is the rhythm of faith. Not knowing everything, trusting enough to take the next step. And as you take those steps, you will begin to notice something powerful. Confidence will no longer depend on certainty in outcomes, but on certainty in God. That is a different kind of strength. It is not fragile. It is not easily shaken. Not collapse under pressure, because it is not built on circumstances. It is built on truth. And that truth is unchanging, unshakable, and absolute. Also, a refinement happening in how you view challenges. What once felt like obstacles will begin to feel like opportunities for growth. What once discouraged you will begin to strengthen you. This shift does not happen automatically. It happens when you choose to see through the lens of trust instead of fear. When you begin to understand that every challenge carries a lesson, every difficulty carries a purpose, every delay carries a hidden alignment. Not leading you into something uncertain, God is leading you into something prepared. The uncertainty you feel comes from not seeing the full picture. The plan itself is complete, and this is where your faith must anchor itself. Not in what you see, but in who is guiding you. When you truly understand that God is in control, your perspective changes. You stop asking, what if things go wrong? And you start declaring, whatever happens, I am guided. There is a quiet strength in that declaration. A strength that does not need to prove itself, does not need validation, does not need constant reassurance. Steady, it is grounded, it is unwavering. And that is the strength you are being called into. Not a temporary burst of motivation, lasting foundation of faith that carries you through every season. You are also being called to elevate your awareness of time, not in a way that creates pressure, but in a way that creates purpose. Time is not something to be wasted. Every moment carries potential. Every day is an opportunity to move closer to alignment. While you cannot control everything that happens, you can control how you respond, how you grow, how you use the time you have been given. Placed within you the ability to change your direction, to refine your focus, to make decisions that move you forward. Do not underestimate that ability. Do not delay action because of fear. Do not wait for perfect conditions. Start where you are with what you have, and trust that God will expand it as you move forward. As you continue, remember that humility must remain at the center of your journey. Growth should not lead to pride. It should lead to gratitude. Everything you are becoming, everything you are receiving, everything you are stepping into is by the will and guidance of God. Stay grounded in that truth. Let it keep your heart pure, your intentions clear, your focus aligned. There will be moments of success, moments where you see the results of your growth, moments where things begin to fall into place. In those moments, do not forget the source. Become distracted by the outcome and lose connection with the one who made it possible. Stay connected, stay aware, stay anchored. What is unfolding in your life is not temporary, it is foundational. It is setting the stage for something that will continue to grow, to expand, to evolve. Your role in this is not passive, it is active. It requires your presence, your awareness, your commitment. So, stand firmly in who you are becoming, confidently in the direction you are being guided. Trust deeply in the process that is unfolding. Carry within you the unshakable truth that God is not only with you, but is guiding every step with precision, with purpose, and with power beyond your understanding. This journey continues to unfold. You will realize something profound. What once felt overwhelming will now feel manageable. Felt distant will now feel within reach. And what once felt uncertain will now feel guided. Not because the world has changed, but because you have. That is where the true power lies. And now, as everything comes together, you are standing at a point where understanding meets decision. Awareness must turn into commitment, and where hearing must become living. Moment where the message is no longer just something you listen to, it becomes something you carry, something you embody. No church at all, something that reshapes the way you move through life from this day forward. You came here feeling like something was about to be revealed, and in truth, been revealed not as a single event, but as a realization that your life is already under the careful, intentional guidance of God. Nothing about your journey has been random. Nothing has been wasted. Nothing has been forgotten. Every struggle, every delay, moment of uncertainty has been part of a process that is leading you into something greater than what you left behind. And now the invitation is clear. Stop resisting what God is building in you. Stop questioning the process that is shaping you. Stop shrinking in moments where you are meant to rise. What God is preparing for you is not small, not ordinary, and not limited by your past or your current circumstances. It is aligned with purpose, designed with wisdom, and timed with perfection. You are not being asked to understand everything. You are being asked to trust. Trust when the path is clear, even more when it is not. Trust when things move quickly, and trust when things feel still. God is not only present in your breakthroughs, God is present in your becoming, in the unseen growth, in the silent strengthening, quiet transformation that prepares you for visible change. So take this final truth into your spirit. You are not waiting for life to begin. Already in the middle of something unfolding, something intentional, something guided. And the more you align yourself with God, your thoughts, your decisions, patience, your actions, the more clearly you will begin to see that nothing about your journey has been outside of divine awareness. This coming will require you to be grounded, not scattered, faithful, not fearful, focused, not distracted. Will require you to walk forward even when you do not have every answer, because God has already secured the direction. And if God is guiding it, nothing can truly block it. So, rise with confidence, not in yourself alone, but in the one who is directing your steps. Move forward with peace that does not depend on circumstances. Carry a mindset that refuses to be shaken by temporary setbacks. Live with the awareness that you are being prepared for something that will confirm in its own time that every word spoken to your spirit was true. When that moment arrives, when things begin to open, when clarity replaces confusion, when progress becomes visible, you will not call it luck, call it coincidence. You will recognize it for what it truly is: God's hand, God's timing and God's plan unfolding exactly as it was meant to. Go forward now with that understanding. Not as someone hoping something will change, but as someone who knows they are already being changed. What God is doing in your life is not just big, it is intentional, it is ongoing, and it is already in motion.